why should I pay my kids for things that they should be doing anyway as a member of the family?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't pay them to clean their own room, for example. But let's say one of them's in charge of the back porch, and if the kid doesn't do it, you got to do it, or the maid's got to do it, or someone. And essentially you're saying, you're part of this family, a certain amount of money comes into this family. If you do part of the work, you will get part of the money. Now see, this is the only thing we know to do, because you don't want your 7-year-old going outside the home. You used to be able to. You could go, you know, probably when you were 9, 10 years old, you could have a paper route or mow lawns. Kids today, that's much harder to do. So what you're trying to do is set up an economy in your home that's a mirror of the real economy. And once you get, here's the key to it, Glenn, once a kid feels like that's my money, I earned that money, now you turn over the purchase of all his stuff. If you want something, just like you said, if you want something, go buy it. If you break something, go replace it. And the mentality that goes into that of earning and saving, the bank can pay interest. You know, there's a lot of stuff.
What is the... I guess we're seeing it. I was going to say, what is the effect of not doing this? Because it really, it used to be paper routes. It used to be mow. I don't know. You try to get a kid in the neighborhood to go mow lawn. They won't do it.
No,
they won't do it. Yeah. Most parents, at least when I was living in Connecticut, which is a whole different world.
Whole different world.
But you live in Connecticut, a suburb of New York, and they will say, well, my kid's not going to mow a lawn. What do you mean your kid's not going to mow a lawn? You know what I say to my kid? Get your butt out with the lawnmower.
And they can begin to supplement, but when they're really young, our whole deal is the earlier you start, the better. You start at 7 or 8, and they're not ready to go out and earn money outside the home, but they can do things in the home, keep track of it. The mentality changes. One more quick story. One of our boys comes home one day missing one of his shoes. And it's winter, and we live in Utah. And I'm like, son, where is your shoe? And he says, well, you know, the snow's melting and we needed a boat, so I used the shoe. Well, where is the shoe? Well, it went under the road. It never came out. I'm like, do you know how much that shoe cost? And he looks at me, and now he realizes I'm a little mad. And he says, no, I don't know how much it cost, but it was actually your shoe because you bought it. And you'll have to go buy me another one now, won't you?
Wow.
You know, and after I'm over the urge to smack him, I'm thinking, he just taught me a lesson. He perceives no ownership of his shoe, of his shirt, of his toy. Why would he? He didn't do anything for it. He didn't work for it. Someone handed it to him. And so we've built this whole book around the idea of getting a kid to feel like, I earned that. I mean, we know that as adults. When you see a building condominiumized,
oh yeah,
you know, the renters suddenly are owners, and what do? They start taking care of everything. I mean, it's free enterprise. So what we ask readers, Glenn, is take a look at your own home. Have you got a socialist economy or a welfare economy going within the walls of your own home, or have you got a free enterprise economy? And that's where kids get pride. That's where they get self-esteem. That's where they get initiative. And then once you've done that, you're only a step away from saying, hey, now let's have you own your own goals and your own values and your own choices. Let's sit down and talk about your choices that you're going to make.
When does it become too late to do this?
How can I be honest and tell you that it's best to start early, but it's never too late. But the older a kid is, the harder it is to pull.
At what age?
That's what we call it, the entitlement trap. Once they're in it, man, pulling them out.
What age?
I would start when they're starting school. That's about the right time. 6 years old, 7 years old. You know what? Because they're flattered by responsibility at that age. They're like, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. Now, if you've got a 16-year-old, Glenn, I'm telling you, I would say to him, look, here's what I would do. I would say, you're going to go away to college in a couple of years. Let's put in play a little thing here where you have more control of your own money now, so you'll be ready when you go away in 2 years. That's how I'd handle him.
How do you, I mean, I never grew up. I remember asking my father if he would co-sign for a car loan when I was 18.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't do that, son. because we couldn't afford it. I had to pay for my own insurance. I had to pay for my own rent. I had to pay for everything. Yeah. When I left the house, I paid for everything.
That's why you're who you are, honestly. That's one thing that's gone into who you are, but kids don't, doesn't happen anymore.
How do we convince parents that, first of all, you don't need to go to Yale?
Yeah.
Some people might go to welding school.
Exactly.
So you don't need to have that label education, and it's not a guarantee. Nothing in life is guaranteed.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So
you and I know that these kids, that is a foreign thought to them. And it's not just
So if you're a 16-year-old and they say, well, I'm going to college because all my friends are going to go to college, and you as a parent, I believe it is imperative to now say, no, you may not.
Yeah.
All your friends may go. You may not go.
Yeah. And do you know that the average American parent today, even somebody that's not making much money, honestly believes that the kid's college education is entirely on him? The thought of the kid actually working for part of that doesn't occur to most parents. And it is a tragedy. I'm telling you, you've got to start young with them in their home, because that's why we call the book The Entitlement Trap. Once a kid's in it, it is so tough getting them out.
The name of the book is How to Rescue Your Child with a New Family System of Choosing, Earning, and Ownership. It is The Entitlement Trap. We were able to work with a publisher to make both of these books. This is, I don't, how long ago did you print this? When did I call you?
It's only been 3 years, and it's still
It's only been,
well, you and I
like
talked 2 years
lifetime.
ago. Yeah, it's only been 2 years.
Wow.
A lot's happening to you.
Wow.
But this one's more for the grown-ups, Glenn.
Right.
I mean, this is, in fact, I'll tell you something interesting about why we put them together. This one says ownership is the key to getting kids to feel responsibility.
Yeah.
This one says when you're a little older and you want a more spiritual paradigm, guess what? Ownership is not all you want. You want stewardship. You want to understand that everything actually belongs to God. And that's even a stronger motivation than ownership.
I read this. I think I read this in one night. I read this. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal book. Both of these together. We've made them available for 40% off at markdown.com. The deal is going now for a limited time through October 30th. Get both of these now at markdown.com and start applying them in your life, for your life and your children's life.
Hey, real pleasure, Glenn.
God bless you.
Take care.
See you again.
All right.